Hello, what is going on, everyone? It's Toasted01 back here with another video. So this is my first coaster content that I'm making, and today I'm going to be ranking all of the 11 roller coasters at Six Flags Over Georgia as of late 2023. Six Flags Over Georgia, in my opinion, is a very underrated park, and I don't think that it gets as much love as it deserves. I really like roller coasters, and I'm happy to share with you my opinion. Keep in mind, though, this is my opinion. If you disagree, then too bad. Hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll start off with number 11. So number 11 is the Joker Funhouse coaster. Now, the Joker Funhouse coaster is the park's kiddie coaster. I would say that overall this is a pretty good kiddie coaster. In fact, it is pretty intense. I mean, for a kid's coaster, obviously. It doesn't compare to stuff like Goliath and Twisted Cyclone. But it has a downward helix. The first drop is nothing really special. And it has a very abrupt brake run, which actually it's kind of weird because you don't really expect it. It's just one single brake. I would say that this is a pretty good kids coaster, but unfortunately it has to go at the spot right behind number 10, the Dahlonega Mine Train. So out of all the mine trains that I've ridden, this is probably the worst one, to be honest. It's really janky. The restraints aren't too good. I like the scenery of it, though. It is pretty cool, but other than that, it's not that good of a ride, besides the final drop into the tunnel. Other than that, it kind of hurts a bit. I mean, it is a park classic. It did open back in 1967. Other than that, though, I mean, it's just kind of there. It is better than Joker Funhouse, but that's really all I can say about it. Alright, number 9, I have Great American Scream Machine. Now, some people hate the Scream Machine. I personally think that it's not too bad of a ride. I'm only putting it at 9 because I didn't enjoy it as much as the rest of these 8 above it. I did get jackhammered a bit, but the ride was still pretty fun. I don't really get why some people dislike the ride so much. I think that it's a good experience, and the line is almost never long. The capacity is pretty good, and I mean, overall it's a pretty solid ride. And number 8, we have Blue Hawk. I have not ridden this yet. This is the only one that I was unable to ride just due to it being closed, me not having time to ride it from the different times that I've been to Six Flags. I'm just kind of going based off of what I see. It looks pretty fun. It doesn't look like anything too special. There is a butterfly version, one of only 2 in the world. I was surprised to find out that it's the second tallest roller coaster at Six Flags, right behind Goliath. I don't really got much else to say about Blue Hawk. Just haven't ridden it, don't really know what the experience is like. Heard the restraints are pretty good on it, and it's definitely an upgrade from Ninja. Alright, number 7, I have Georgia Scorcher. Some people hate the Scorcher, some people love it. I kind of have a mixed opinion about it. I had 2 rides on Scorcher. One of them was a great ride, and the other one was a bad ride. I think that overall it's a pretty good coaster. The pre-drop is kind of bad, to be honest. I like the first loop. The corkscrew is pretty intense. I feel like it kind of waves around too much. It seems like they're just adding filler elements. It is definitely a very fast roller coaster, and I think it's fun. The stand-up position is definitely disorienting. This is my first stand-up coaster and my only stand-up coaster that I've ridden. Overall, I think the Scorcher is pretty good. It's just not as good as number 6, Riddler Mindbender. So, my first Six Flags Park visit was actually January of 2023, the very first day of January. So this was my first real roller coaster, like not counting like little kiddie ones. And I'd say that this is like the perfect coaster to get over your fear. It's not too tall, so it's not like Goliath where it's like, oh my god, this roller coaster is so tall, it's scary. It kind of introduces you to inversions for the 2 loops, which by the way are like really good. And it just gives you a feel for what a roller coaster is supposed to be like. I mean, whenever I think of just a stereotypical roller coaster, Mindbender is what comes to mind. Get it? So, here's one part that I dislike. I mean, it might just be from age, but the dive loop. Right after the first loop, and there's just this dive loop that is just so rough. I mean, it hurts a lot. I get jackhammered on it. I mean, but honestly, Riddler, even if it's not your first roller coaster, it's still a really fun ride. It's one of the most popular rides in the park, I'm pretty sure. Just because it's not too scary, but also not too tame. It's kind of in the middle. This was close to... Number 5 is Daredevil Dive. Daredevil Dive, in my opinion, is a pretty good coaster. I'd say the scariest part of it is the chain lift, but also one of the best parts because it feels like you're just going to fly off the back. I mean, it is vertical after all. The first drop is pretty good. The rest of the ride, I'd say, is pretty decent. It's very smooth. Definitely, probably the second smoothest ride in the park. At the end, there's this Heartline roll that caught me by surprise the first time I rode it. It was pretty intense. I mean, not too intense, but I wasn't expecting it. The capacity on this thing is horrible, though. I mean, a short line will probably take a while. They normally only run 2 trains at a time. The trains take 6 people at max. And, I mean, that's just going to take forever. I'd say that it is worth your wait. It is pretty tame for the most part, except for the first drop. I think that it's like a really good ride there. But I think that number 4 is definitely better. At number 4, I have Superman Ultimate Flight. So, Superman, I originally had it as my number 1. Or no, not my number 1, but it was in my top 3. But I recently got a ride on it that wasn't as good. May have just been because we had to wait a while. The line wasn't that long, but the capacity was bad because they were only running 1 train. I mean, the pretzel loop is definitely the most intense element in the park. Overall, I'd say this coaster is pretty good. The flying position is awkward, but also like really fun. You feel like you're actually flying and you're going up super high. The inversions, I'd say, are decent. But I guess the thing that I like the most about it is the experience. If I had been on a bunch of other flying coasters, then this probably would have been rated lower. But just flying coasters in general, I mean, this one is pretty cool. This one was neck and neck with number 3, Batman the Ride. Batman the Ride was my first suspended coaster, and it definitely did not disappoint. It's very compact, but it being compact did not ruin it at all. The first loop into the roll, I'm not really sure exactly what to call it, was very good. It was snappy, but not too snappy. I liked how it kept its speed throughout the entire ride, and the turn to the final brake run, I put my feet up every single time just because for some reason I think that I'm going to hit my feet on the bottom, but I never do. Batman the Ride is definitely a top tier roller coaster at this park. But it does not come close to number 2, Twisted Cyclone. Twisted Cyclone is probably the smallest RMC that's like supposed to be intense, but for its small size, it packs a big punch. You have the first drop, which is pretty good, to the reverse Cobra roll, which I really like. The wave turn is insane. I mean, it's just so fun. And then it goes to this turnaround thing, a sudden drop, a 0G roll, another turnaround, and then it's done. A lot of people say that the ride is too short. I mean, yeah, it is short, but doesn't feel like it was cut short. Like, it felt like the right amount of time. In my opinion, the best place to sit on this roller coaster is definitely the back row because it whips you around so much. And since it's a small, compact layout, then you're gonna feel all the whip. This ride is definitely close to number 1 Goliath. I'm sure a lot of people are not surprised that I put Goliath at number 1. It's just really fun. I mean, I'm certain that this is the best hyper coaster out there. There's not really a dull moment. This first drop is pretty good. The camelbacks, you have insane flow to airtime. I say the Helix was a little bit overrated though, to be honest. It wasn't as intense as I thought it would be. And again, I do have a high tolerance for G's. I haven't grayed out on anything. But, I mean, Goliath is just unbelievably fun. I guess is the best way I could put it. It's definitely intimidating walking in and seeing it just like tower over everything. I think that it would have been cool if it kind of went through the entire park and not just the front area. But, I mean, Goliath is definitely the best ride in the park. No question about it.